Good afternoon. We are Crops and Machinery. Let's introduce
I'm Jesse Deardorff.
I'm Jeremy Hockman.
Kyle Porter.
Ted Krull.
And we're going to start out with state of the farm as far as machinery goes. Little intro. We run mostly all Deere equipment. As you guys are well aware of, we do some close work with Ryerson's through leasing. Everything, planter work, everything goes through them pretty much. We do have a Case IH field cultivator, an M&W Earthmaster chisel. So other than that, we're pretty much green, and we try to stick through working close with Ryerson's. They've been pretty good to work with so far from what we've got to know of them. We had a chance to meet with one of the head salesmen, Rick, over there, and I've also talked to TJ, their AMS specialist, on the phone a couple times. And yeah, that's just a little bit of an intro as far as the machinery side of it. I'm going to turn it over to Chad for the overview.
Overview of our slide set, the recommendations set by the previous committees before us, mainly the spring 2011 committee. We'll show our long and short-term goals for our committee. And most of our goals relate to procurement and maintenance of our current equipment.
We're going to get into the long-term goals of the spring 2011 committee. Obviously maintain our current machinery set, which is general repairs, maintenance, grease, just taking care of stuff. We've got a nice set of equipment. We might as well keep it up to date and running good. Also, we've looked into replacing the soybean platform. I know we've talked about that before, but we've got some ballpark figures from some people, updating to a 630F series, which will fit our combine a lot better. We've had some issues with this one we currently have. Had to stick about $3 grand into it last fall, which that old of a platform, that's not being very good for cost effectiveness of dumping that much money into an old platform. New one, or a new used one that's probably about 2 years old, you're looking at about $35,000. They offered 10 for ours to trade it. We've taken some pictures with the PR, and we're gonna maybe try to sell it privately outright. From what we've done for research, we're thinking it's probably worth anywhere from 15 to 14. Also dispose of the old equipment and update the grain trucks. That was some of their goals set by the previous committee. First goal was completed.
We took one of the recommendations of updating the platform, and that was talked to us about Greg too, getting a high recommendation to get that traded off. So Kyle kind of said we spent 3,000 repairs last year, and some of the trade-in costs. We want to keep it pretty short since we only have 8 weeks in this class. We want to make sure we got all these short-term goals done. We want to train the staff on the guidance equipment, as the handheld SMS equipment and the John Deere Apex equipment, just to make sure that since we have the equipment, that we're using it properly and we're getting information that's useful to our farms, so we can make decisions based on that. Kind of going off the spring 2011 committee is maintaining the current equipment. We want to make an inspection form for each piece of equipment. It's kind of been done in the past a little bit, but it never really kept going. It was more of an informal, handwritten thing. We'd like to get more of a printed off sheet, so any class can just take the piece of paper, go out and just start checking off everything and make sure that they actually complete each piece of inspection items. So, and then we'll go through that too and make sure that all the fall equipment is ready this summer, so it's ready to go as soon as we're done.
This will be a picture of the platform that we've priced out, looked at. Not the platform, but they're identical.
Our long-term goals include receiving bids for installing the scale on grain cart. We've actually already got a price for it. It's $2,400 from Scale Tech, and that included a pretty good discount for being a university entity. So that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I've also looked into discussing some stuff with Greg. We lost a little bit of custom planting from the university because we weren't updated with road command shutoffs. Now granted, that's not a guarantee that we wouldn't have lost it anyway if we would have had the road command, but you know, for custom work, why not have that extra step over other people? If we're running the 2600 and the Deere stuff anyway, let's try to update this planter. For one, it'll save us seed costs, some time, also point rows, makes it easier for combining. And again, we've also got the technology that we can, you know, kind of use for custom work that I think, I mean, bragging rights might not come out right, but you know, it's a nice tool to be able to tell people that, hey, we've got this, save you seed, save you time, everything else. So we've looked into that. I've talked to TJ, he came out and looked at the planter, got all the specs off of it. He's putting together a quote for me for wiring harnesses. We've already got pro shaft drives on it instead of chain drives, which we're one step closer to having a row shutoffs, and you just got to pull the back clutch off and put a different clutch on. So still waiting on a quote for that, but that's where we're sitting with that. In conclusion, I guess all in all, we've got a nice set of equipment. We'd like to keep it maintained, running good. We really don't have anything big or major other than the platform, but just some technology updates, different stuff like that. But all in all, we've got a really nice set of equipment. You guys should be proud to say the 450s, and I think we're sitting well as far as that. We're turning it over to these guys as far as the crop side of it goes.
You want to do questions on machinery first, or you
Yeah.
want to do all questions at the end?
No, that's fine, we can do that.
Okay, I've got a couple, but anybody else have questions before I start? You want me to start? Okay, first one on the platform, I may have missed it when I was writing, but have you got any bids or any pricing on
They're
anything
supposed
yet?
to send us one
Yeah,
this
Rick,
week.
Yeah.
Rick is on it, and he
Okay.
told us the other day when we were over there, he said he, like, for trade-in was around 10
10.
grand is what he was looking at.
Okay,
But that's kind of why we went to taking pictures, and we're gonna put it on Tractor House and maybe see if we can sell it ourselves and maybe get, you know, a couple, 3-4 extra grand out of it.
sure.
I've contacted a place in Nebraska and Missouri too that had a similar head, just to kind of get some cost comparison to make sure it's a good deal.
Sure. This is a good time to maybe listen to what the old gray-haired guy says, because the questions I ask highly likely could turn up on the quiz, so pretty important ones. And I know they know the answers, so. What's the real problem with our current platform, and how would this platform take care of that problem?
Well, it doesn't match up perfectly with the combine that we have, so it runs really rough. And what did we put into repairs last year?
3,000. Yeah, 3,000. The wobble box, they put a new wobble box in it that runs the sickle because it was shaking so bad, and it still hasn't fixed the problem. They can't get the timing right on it. They don't know what's going on, if it's because it's an older platform on a newer combine and the timing's just not right, or what's going on with it. That and
Was that platform designed for a 95 series? Is that the,
Yeah.
pretty much the
It's
issue?
an aftermarket sickle, and I mean, they've worked on it several times and they can't get it right, so.
It's a $2,000 platform, the combine's a 06 or 07.
Seven.
The reason I'm asking lots of questions is because we asked lots of questions last time, and I was personally guaranteed by the machinery committee that upgrading to this combine would have no problems with the platform or the heads, none at all. And we've had all kinds of
No,
them,
that's why we
so,
welcome any questions.
yeah, that's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
so.
It was supposed to work.
I know
it
it was
should
supposed
have.
to, yeah, that's the way it
Should've,
goes.
but-
Okay,
We have we have a question.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys said, but what's the price looking at a new or used one that you guys got 630 off
outright between 30 to 35 is what you found.
Yeah.
Those are mostly 2 to 3 years old, pretty good condition, low hours.
We're hoping to get 10 to 15 for the one that we currently have, so we're looking at about $20,000 purchase.
Finance in 20, have you looked at, and that's a good lead into my next question, if we're gonna finance 20, have you taken a look at what Deere can finance something like that for?
We're kind of waiting to
We
see.
haven't, yeah.
See if we're gonna trade it in or if it's gonna be a cash purchase.
And
He was gonna put a whole package together for us. Rick was over there,
Well,
right? So-
we told Rick we're limited on time, so we needed to have that this week at the latest.
Yeah, what, just, and I think maybe you know this if you've asked Greg, but what they've done with us before, we bought the combine, we bought the corn head, we bought the planter this way. We had, basically, we used the trade-in as our down payment, and then we had a year before we had to make a payment, so.
Okay.
Make sure that you're spending some quality time with these guys when that comes in.
Once we get some firm numbers, we'll.
Yeah.
Only other question I had real quickly, you were talking about the row shut-offs, and I think Kyle, you made the comment that it makes us more competitive with the rest of the folks that we're competing against. Who are we competing against for custom acres?
The university purchased a newer planter that has their own row command shut-offs. Greg said it was pretty much for the smaller plots, which is understandable. Also, I mean, other farmers and stuff. I mean, anybody that's got that technology, they're talking anywhere from 15 to 20% seed savings just in point rows and stuff like that. That and overpopulation in certain areas of the farm, it hurts your overall yield. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it.
Greg also stated that some of the farms up north that are done by private farmers, that was part of the requirement that they had to have row shut-offs. So in the future, if they don't have row shut-offs, we can maybe come in there and do some of that work for them again.
And the ballpark price, just an idea what this.
Rough price, probably anywhere from 10 to 15.
And that does what? I mean, each shut-off will do
Each row will
one,
shut
two
off, yep.
separately.
Yep,
Yeah.
separately.
That's what you would prefer to do. But you could go 2 rows.
You could go 2 rows, which would be a little cheaper. He was gonna put together a couple price things for me. We already did it. I mean, the planter's already got the pro shut-off drive, or the pro shaft drives on it, that update.
Right.
Which will make it a little bit cheaper. The main expense to it, it's sad to say, is wiring harness.
Yeah.
TJ thought he could get us the clutches themselves for at cost about $300 a piece, which normally they're $500, which would be a really good deal. But the main expense would be the wiring harness. Now the nice thing with the lease tractors is we would only be responsible for the wiring harness on the planter. Anything from the front of the hitch of that planter forward, that's their problem. So that'll save us some money as well. Yeah.
That just makes me wonder, Greg was talking about how Ryerson's have ever ran out of displays, so they didn't have one. If we switch that planter all over to that, it'll be running off with a display and not like a brown box.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So, is that a problem? Making sure that there's always a display?
I want to talk to TJ about that. That was a concern that I also had as well.
We might change it into a priority for them.
Yeah, a priority that we have. I mean, we're gonna have to have a display if we do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of an odd situation because a new receiver came out and actually sold out of them and they were oversold on them. So until that situation happens again, it'd probably be okay, but it'd still be something to look into it. Inferred that we're gonna have it because that's how we're spending the money and not using it. So.
One of the reasons I'm asking a lot of these questions on row shut-offs, it's pretty high technology that maybe a lot of people don't have yet. Might be a very, very educational component of Ag 450 that we could use student fees for as well. Maybe it's something to think about.
Yeah, that. And, I mean, just Deere's came out with these different supposed seed costs that you can save, and you're supposed to save X, Y, Z. It'd be kind of interesting to do a couple trials on some. I mean, we've got some odd shaped fields. I mean, as far as that goes, it'd be interesting to actually put a dollar figure behind that. I mean, they give you a ballpark, but actually on your own farm, I mean, it's going to change from farm to farm.
Thanks.